was all I could see out my window in the morning, and I could feel the claustrophobia creeping up on me. You could never see the sky here. It was like a cage.
Have you been outside in the last few weeks? No, then you don't know this shit. I'm sure it's raining as fuck in England at any time you want to check, but eventually they do see the sky.
Actually, fairly regularly, if honesty,
Breakfast with Charlie was a quiet event. He wished me good luck at school. I thanked him, knowing his hope was wasted.
A quiet event was like this. You'd just be like, if you were a guest at this breakfast, you'd just be sitting there, and they'd be like in their silence, and you'd be like, "Oh my God, this seething cauldron of angst! Will someone please fucking say something?"
Let's see here. Good luck tended to avoid me. Same here. Charlie left first, off to the police station. That was his wife and family. You are an asshole.
Well, considering the fact that he has been alone since...
Well, perhaps, but she's not even trying to engage her father.
Well...
I understand there might be some distance there, but I would at least be like, "Hi, Dad, what's for breakfast?"
Yeah. Well, to be fair, though, both of them are non-expressive people, so I guess...
suppose, but that just seems...
Well, let's put it this way. I can't believe I'm doing this, but...
Defending the story.
Well, and I'm not really defending the story. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, basically. But, like, what if we take the similarities between Bella and Charlie and extrapolate them? Let's say that Charlie was like Bella was at her age. He's probably, he's more than twice her age, obviously. So let's just take that to that next step. As withdrawn and unemotive as she is, he's probably had way longer to get into that pattern. So it probably is like he just doesn't show it. And being a guy, he probably was also brought up not to show it.
Being police chief, I mean, assuming each place probably has their own different way to elect the chief. But don't you have to have some sort of popularity, personality kind of thing to be elected chief?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you never know, really. Some people really like a stoic dude. So it may just be that the people in this place thought, well, that dude he doesn't let emotion, rule his interpretation of justice. So we approve of him as police chief. We don't really know where the circumstances have brought them where they are, but I think it's actually reasonable, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think it's actually reasonable to assume that Charlie is probably a bit worse than Bella when it comes to expressing and being open. So the first time they've seen each other she said, since last year, and he's never actually lived with for any length of time. Probably, it's going to take.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be awkward or a little difficult. It just seems like nobody's really trying. It's just like we didn't say anything to each other at breakfast, and he left.
Good night, Anna. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We love you. Hopefully, I didn't miss you. I'm sorry. But I think with two people like this, it'll take a while for them to really warm to each other. And bringing back the thing that I keep harping on, the fact that she traveled all day yesterday and is trashed.
Yeah.
And yet she has to go to school today is probably not helping. But anyway.
After he left, I sat at the old square oak table in one of the three matching chairs and examined his small kitchen, which is now your kitchen, with its dark paneled walls, bright yellow cabinets. What? Ew. And white linoleum floor. Nothing was changed. Nothing has changed. Was my mother?
It would read better as nothing had changed. But I think it's awkward. It's awkward in any sense.
Yeah. My mother had painted the cabinets 18 years ago in an attempt to bring some sunshine into the house, because it's not like you could have windows or anything built.
So pea yellow cabinets in the kitchen is going to bring sunshine into the...
Yeah. Over the small fireplace in the adjoining handkerchief-sized family room was a row of pictures.
The family closet.
Yes. That's where our communal fucks are. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
That's great.
First, a wedding picture of Charlie and my mom. Well, I would hope it's your mom if that's his, and he hasn't gotten remarried or something, but okay. It just seems weird to I need to make sure that it's mom he's with. In Las Vegas. Why? When one of the three of us, then one of the three of us in the hospital after I was born. Wait, so one of you was in the hospital?
No. Then one picture.
Oh,
which
okay.
It's vague. It should
okay.
be. This is poorly
Then
written.
it should be
yeah.
and then another picture.
Yeah.
Where
or then a shot of us in the.
Yeah.
Because that is really awkward.
Okay. Found it. After I was born, taken by a helpful nurse, followed by the procession of my school pictures up to last year's. Those were embarrassing to look at. It was a kind of a different time. I would have to see what I could do to get Charlie to put them somewhere else, at least while I was living here. Why?
Because it is kind of uncomfortable looking at your old pictures. I don't care for it much myself.
Oh.
Of course, I never think I photograph well, and as you know,
everybody is biased against themselves.
And up to a couple of years ago, when I started to do this with you, I could not stand my voice being on anything, especially recorded. It just bothered me so much, and I was like, I don't know how anyone can listen to me speak. I don't know how anyone can look at me in a picture. So, I'm glad, Sarah. We do try. We do try.
Spoiler alert: the nurse is a vampire.
I would not doubt it at all. This has been some huge conspiracy.
Probably.
Can I do the next?
Sure. Have I even finished? Oh yes, I did.
Yeah. It was impossible being in this house not to realize that Charlie had never gotten over made me uncomfortable. I didn't want to be too early to school, but I couldn't stay in the house anymore. I donned my jacket, which had the feel of a biohazard.
It's a parka, you said.
Yeah, seriously.
Why are you even wearing a parka? It should be like fall.
And headed out into the rain.
Because that makes perfect sense. It was just drizzling still, not enough to soak me through immediately as I reached for the house key that was always hidden under the eaves by the door. Why wouldn't you have it on a key ring in your pocket?
Well, I guess it's trying to convey that this is the sort of town where people can just put their key in a secret place.
And walk out. The sloshing of my new waterproof boots was unnerving. How? I missed the normal crunch of gravel as I walked. I hate gravel. It's annoying. It gets in everything.
It is annoying.
I couldn't.
And it hurts.
Yeah. I couldn't pause and admire my truck. I couldn't pause and admire my truck again as I wanted. I was in a hurry to get out of the misty wet that swirled around my head. The misty wet that swirled around my head and clung to my hair under. Wait, how? How does your hair get wet if you have a hood over your head?
I guess it's so dry it just sucks up moisture from the air around it.
Does she turn into a poof then?
I guess.
Like her hair gets super frizzy?
That would be great. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it. But yeah, for years. And I remember when we were first doing this, and I was like, I really don't like hearing my own voice. But it was an accomplishment. Inside the truck, it was nice and dry, as you would expect. By the billiard, Charlie had obviously cleaned it up, but the tan upholstered seats still smelled faintly of tobacco, gasoline, and peppermint. Why would it?
Because a dude owned it, and I guess he liked peppermint.
I guess, but peppermint. I can get tobacco and gasoline, but peppermint? What is it, like peppermint schnapps or something? Just pour it on. We'll christen this new one. We'll pour this on. This will totally cover up the tobacco and gasoline smell, and totally the sex smell where I had sex with your father, Bella.
And the dead body that we had in the back.
And the dead body.
Yeah, he helped me cover that up and bury it in the park.
Yes, very deep. Very deep. Sex
That's
oil.
another story.
Sex oil. I love it. Sex oil. Awesome.
I'm glad somebody likes my voice.
Yeah. The engine started quickly, to my relief, but loudly, roaring to life and then idling at top volume. Well, a truck this old was bound to have a flaw. Well, it's not really a flaw considering so many people are like, yeah, rumble your car, I want it louder. Yeah. The antique radio worked, plus that I hadn't expected.
Finding the school wasn't difficult, though I'd never been there before. Wait, did you have directions or did you just guess how to go to school? Did nobody show you? Why? The school was, like most other things, just off the highway. It was not obvious that it was a school. Only the sign, which declared it to be the Forks High School, made me stop. I looked like it looked like a collection of matching houses built with maroon-colored bricks. There were so many trees and shrubs. I couldn't see its size at first. There was the feel of where was the feel of the institution? I wondered nostalgically. Where were the chain link fences, the metal detectors?
You're a stupid asshole. What the hell? Wondered nostalgically? Were you fond of chain link fences and metal detectors? What kind of idiot is? You're a moron.
Do they have those in Phoenix?
Some places they did, but I never. But like, I understand that many schools are built like prisons, and this is a big problem of the educational system in America.
Yeah.
But like, why would you ever say, "Oh, gee, I sure miss the chain link fences and the metal detectors"? What, do you also miss the razor wire and the snipers on the roofs? You know, to try and pick you off.
What would be better to say is she's remembering back home, and it's strange to her to see that there's no metal detectors or.
But I mean, there's a feel of the institution because it is a campus. It's a campus. What does she think college is going to be like? You know, it's going to be a bunch of different buildings on the same area with a sign that says this is a school, you know? Where were the chain link fences and metal detectors? Maybe they were up your ass. Who knows? Like, what the fuck? Who says?
She has to poop them out and install them along with her mail.
I wondered nostalgically. You're fucking 18 years old for one. Don't talk to me about nostalgia. Number two, who gets nostalgic for chain link fences and metal detectors? No. Okay.
Push your rage.
Anyway, we had our first rage moment. Wait, I just realized we had our first rage moment.
Push your rage.
I parked in front of the first building, which had a small sign over the door reading "Front Office," which should be in quotes or be capitalized because that's extremely awkward writing. But this whole thing is extremely awkward writing. I don't know why I'm making finger quotes, but I am.
Did she go through an actual publisher that published this, or did she self-publish? I'm going to look this up.
I'm pretty sure she actually got published, which is terrifying. But it's also inspiring because anyone can be published. So I fully believe in this. This is inspiring. We'll use this as inspiration anyway. I'm not going to get down about this. No one else parked there, so I was sure it was off limits, but I decided I would get directions inside instead of circling around in the rain like an idiot. I stepped unwillingly out of the toasty truck cab and walked down a little stone path lined with dark hedges. I took a deep breath before opening the door. Shall I just...
Sure.
Okay.
I'm trying to find this out.
Inside, it was brightly lit and warmer than I'd hoped. The office was small, a little waiting area with padded folding chairs, orange-flecked commercial carpet, notices and awards cluttering the walls, big clock ticking loudly. Plants grew everywhere in large plastic pots, as if there wasn't enough greenery outside. What are you bitching about? God damn! The room was cut in half by a long counter cluttered with wire baskets full of papers and brightly colored flyers taped to its front. There were 3 desks behind the counter, one of which was manned by a large red-haired woman wearing glasses. She was wearing a purple t-shirt, which immediately made me feel overdressed. The red-haired woman looked up. "Can I help you?" "I'm Isabella Swan," I informed her, and saw the immediate awareness light her eyes. I was expected. A topic of gossip, no doubt. "You are kind of overestimating yourself. Daughter of the chief's flighty ex-wife, come home at last. And again I question your affection for your mother." "Of course," she said. She dug through a precariously stacked pile of documents on her desk till she found the one she was looking for. "I have your schedule right here, and a map of the school." She brought several sheets to the counter to show me.
Okay, so Little Brown and Company published it.
Well,
So apparently she went through like what everybody does usually. It takes forever to get it published. And then finally somebody's like, I'll pick it up.
Okay, that was my Dio voice. So.
I told one of them.
Thanks,
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Archie.
Okay. So
Yada yada does it. Yada yada yada. I can't do JoJo. I cannot do JoJo.
I have never actually watched that series.
Really?
I really like Nakatili and Ogre, and they played through a game of it and also referenced the crap out of the TV show.
You know, it's funny. I have a love-hate relationship with JoJo. I love the characters. I often love the stories. I always hate his endings, though. Like, he never ends it the way to my satisfaction. But, like, I have JoJo's All-Star Battle. I love it, and I want Eyes of Heaven when it comes out because it's like, holy shit, yes. But it has to have Lisa in it. Like, I don't know if any of you follow my art blog, which is hushiart.tumblr.com. It's hushiart.tumblr.com. It has a picture of Lisa that I drew because I love Lisa. Lisa is awesome. But so I am a fan of JoJo. I have some problems with the story sometimes, but I still love it, damn it. I still come back to it. I wish I could quit you, JoJo. Anyway.
That was okay.
Okay.
So where am I story?
She went through my classes for me, and Bushijo went to pee.
Again. She went through my class. Here, I'll just slide over. That would be easier for me. She went through my classes for me, highlighting the best route to each on the map. You get a map? I had a week to figure out where the hell my classes were. Okay. And gave me a slip to have each teacher sign. Why? Which I was to bring back at the end of the day. For what reason? She smiled at me and hoped, like Charlie, that I would like it here in Forks. I don't see why she would really care, and probably means more you would like it in the school, but okay. I smiled back as convincingly as I could. When I went back out to my truck, other students were starting to arrive. I drove around the school, following the line of traffic. I was glad to see that most of the cars were older like mine, nothing flashy. At home, I lived in one of the few lower-income neighborhoods that were included in the Paradise Valley district. I guess I'm supposed to know what that is and make a connection, but I don't. It was a common thing to see a new Mercedes or Porsche in the student lot. The nicest car here was a shiny Volvo, and it stood out. Still, I cut the engine as soon as I was in a spot of pee, I guess, so that
I hit the toilet. I aimed.
I wasn't complaining about you.
I'm a big boy.
So that the thunderous volume wouldn't draw attention to me. I looked at the map in the truck, trying to memorize it now. Why wouldn't you take it with you? Hopefully I wouldn't have to walk around with it stuck in front of my nose all day. I stuffed everything in my bag, slung the strap over my shoulder.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Blabpunk. I just meant for you to see it was right at the top. I'm really, really sorry. I should have given a warning.
What was?
Well, if you go back on the pages, there was a nude, but I am really sorry about that. I should have given a warning. I just meant for you to see the Lisa picture, actually.
Okay.
So sorry about that. I really am sorry.
Have very little views. Yeah, but we're working on that. So, but one day maybe we'll have 400 subscribers, which is a goal kind of this marathon. Is that maybe we can get 400 subscribers. Yeah. We're about 20-30 away from that, but
hopefully we can.
Okay, where was I? No, I read that part. Stuffed everything into my bag, slung the strap over my shoulder, and sucked in a huge breath. I can do this, I lied to myself feebly. You didn't even try to pump yourself up? Then what was the point of it actually being to do that? You're stupid and pointless, and I hate you.
Hat you.
Yes, I hat you. No one was going to bite me. You hope. Or Or actually,
Is this a pun? Is this
Yeah,
a foreshadowing?
I was about to say, and like I realized this is a pun, and it's dumb because vampires. I finally exhaled and stepped out of the truck. Should I just keep going?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I kept my face pulled back into my hood as I walked. Yeah, right.
I'm pulling my face back.
But that's why I had to go and read it again to make sure I was reading it right. As I walked to the sidewalk, crowded with teenagers,
Big modifying phrase.
Right. I would hope there are other teenagers because if you're somehow at college when you're supposed to be at a high school, yeah. My plain black jacket didn't stand out. I noticed with relief.
Yes, I am sorry again, Blaupunkt. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking, I want to show them the cool picture of Lisa. So I wasn't expecting you to scroll down and look at the rest of it, but, there's stuff there.
Yes, this is still only the first chapter.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Of course, now notice we did take a break to eat, and we have been kind of screwing around. I hope that eventually we're nearing the second part because I'm getting really sick of this story, and I need a break.
Once I got around to the cafeteria, Building 3 was easy to spot. A large bracket. God bless it! What is wrong with me today?
A bracket!
A large bracket 3. A large bracket 3 was painted on a white square in the east corner. Anyway, a large black 3, and I'm doing my finger quotes, was painted on a white square on the east. I felt my breathing gradually creeping towards hyperventilation as I approached the door. I vomited a spray of Technicolor beauty on the gorgeous crystal clear glass. I tried holding my breath as I followed 2 unisex raincoats through the door. Well, were they being worn by anyone? Were they just
apparently they just
float raincoats? Yeah.
Maybe she stepped into the Harry Potter
universe. Do they stink? Why are you holding your breath? You're gonna pass out.
Well, she already said she was hyperventilating. That's the worst thing you would want to do. Look.
Okay, sorry, Blaupunkt. I am from a people who often apologize excessively.
The classroom was small. The people in front of me stopped just inside the door to hang up their coats on a long row of hooks. I copied them. They were 2 girls. One a porcelain-colored blonde, the other also pale, with light brown hair. At least my skin wouldn't be a standout here. Why don't you just say it wouldn't stand out here?
I took the slip up to the teacher, a tall, balding man whose desk had a nameplate identifying him as Mr. Mason, Perry for short. He gawked at me when he saw my name. Not an encouraging response. And of course, I flushed tomato red.
Why?
Why would you? Is she into? Oh my god! She's like Chrysanthemum. She's into older dudes. He gawked and she blushed and she's like.
Well, that's why she dates Edward, isn't it? Because he's much older than.
Yeah, maybe she saw this dude and she was like, "There are older dudes here for me. Mr. Mason is my bae." All right, we got it. But at least she sent me to an empty desk at the back without introducing me to the class. That's.
Well, who really does that in America anyway? Nobody introduced me when I.
Oh well, I guess it does make sense too, as it's the beginning of a new year. So yeah, I mean, usually if someone transfers in the middle of the year,
I did, but nobody introduced me. I just went and joined the class.
Wow, it often happens to me. But it would be like in the middle of a year. Usually, if you're in the beginning of a year, they.
Wait, they had ball joint dolls of Bella and Edward.
Man, that makes me want to do it. That makes me want to. Oh, Sarah, take care of yourself. Are you all right?
Be careful when you swallow stuff.
That's right. Get some water.
Oh, drink, please.
Do take care, Sarah.
I hope you're okay.
Oh, me.
Why are some of these paragraphs so fucking long?
I don't know.
And then you get like a sentence or two.
Yeah.
And it just kind of runs together.
It was harder for my new classmates to stare at me in the back, but somehow they managed.
Because they
I guess they got in trouble too, because you can't just turn around and look at the back of the classroom and stare at her while the teacher's talking. I mean, I remember that at least. I kept my eyes down on the reading list the teacher had given me. It was fairly basic. Bronte, Shakespeare, Chaucer, Faulkner. I'd already read everything. Bullshit! I know you don't hardly ever read Chaucer, Faulkner, and rarely ever Bronte. You're lucky if you fucking get Shakespeare these days.
I had to read Shakespeare all 4 years of high school.
I actually read 2 or 3 years.
We read Romeo and Juliet in 9th grade. In 10th grade, we read Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
And then we read, let me think, what was junior year? I can't remember what junior year is.
Was it Hamlet?
No, but
Tempest? Midsummer Night's Dream, As You Like It?
what I remember was that we did both Hamlet and Macbeth. Yes.
It's a, it's a superstition. You never call that play by its name if you're talking with an acting company or an actor or anything like that. Never call it anything but the Scottish play. And if you do, knock on wood and call it the Scottish. It's a funny superstition, but they actually had I think it was an episode of Blackadder where they had this one guy that was so freaked out if you called it Macbeth that he would just knock on things and be like, the Scottish play. And he kept doing it because he knew it was fucking with the guys. So it was wonderful. Imagine the Venice, because she has a character named Loxley, and I keep calling him Shylock because I keep thinking of Shylock.
Yeah, but I read Romeo and Juliet, Julius Caesar, and then the Mick one, since apparently I'm not,
the Scottish play!
I'm not allowed to say the full thing, and Hamlet.
Yeah.
But I don't remember them being separate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, surely they must have been because I had to read something my junior year.
Yeah.
But I think I read both of them my senior year. It might have been we kind of skipped the Shakespeare thing in junior year because we did have that huge junior project in English and history.
Did
class.
you know the sonnet, Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? The romantic.
Yeah.
That was actually to a boy. Shakespeare wrote it to a dude. So
okay.
I'm just saying, just putting that out there, he wrote that to a dude. So keep that in mind.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Somebody's like Shylock.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't go into it because I will start to geek. I will start to Shakespeare geek. But you can look up Shylock. You will. Interesting character. But I always, for some reason, mess up calling her character Loxley, and I always think of him as Shylock. I thought of him as Shylock forever. Just Google it. You'll find it very easily. We need to finish this chapter really bad.
Yes, please. I hope we're. Oh, are you okay?
Yeah.
I hope
I'm a big
again.
Shakespeare geek, so I would get off on a tangent forever.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut about something.
What?
I'm not saying it.
No, tell me. No, you got to tell me now. It's going to bother me. Is something on my face? What is it? What's happening? What's wrong?
My mind is in the gutter, and as soon as you said,
Out with it. Out with it.
getting off on Shakespeare.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, I was going to do a really neat side comic called Baldy Work, which BAWDY. And, it's a pun, a play on words. And I was going to go back and do a Shakespeare geek, do a literary geek, and do this classic literature sort of sexed up, with all the puns and all the stuff. Think the nurse in Romeo and Juliet, and all of it would be like that. All of it would be like that fun character, like Mercutio. I'm so tired right now. I can't think if it's Mercutio or not. I think is it Mercutio? I'm having an inner dialogue crisis externally. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. Where are we?
Oh wait, no, I was reading.
Okay. I was thinking so, but I wasn't sure.
That was comforting and boring.
What was?
The already read everything.
Oh,
so
I guess.
she wouldn't have to worry about trying. I wondered if my mum would send me my folder of old essays. Could you not put it on a flash drive, dude?
When does the story take place? In the 2000s?
Now!
Yeah, I was going to say, it came out like 2007.
Yeah, 2007. It's just seriously, dude. Yeah, I like Romeo and Juliet too. It's one of those things that people often misunderstand because it is a romance, but it has some crucial features that make it more of a tragedy, so people don't think about the tragic elements. They always constantly harp on a romance, but even in the title, the original full title is The Tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. So it is a tragedy more than a romance. It is still important as both a romance and a tragedy, but I think it's an interesting story, and I think it's one of those examples where you can see things going wrong and like little things going wrong and cascading like a domino effect to making the whole thing like an increasing tragedy in stakes. The stakes gradually get higher and then they quickly get higher, and so it's like that escalated quickly, by the time you're at the end and everybody's dead. I'm so sorry. I did it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Damn it.
It's okay.
I wondered if my mum would send me my folder of old essays or if she would think that was cheating. It's not cheating. You just...
You've already done the work.
You've already done the work.
And if they're just requiring you to do it again, okay.
And if it's your work, you're not really plagiarizing yourself. Just do some editing and make it slightly different. I went through different arguments with her in my head while the teacher droned on.
When the bell rang, a nasal buzzing... Shouldn't there be a comma there? A nasal buzzing sound. A gangly boy with... Wait. Oh. Okay. I'm a little confused by your sentence structure, but sure. A gangly boy with skin problems and hair black as an oil slick leaned across the aisle to talk to me. You're Isabella Swan, aren't you? He looked like the overly helpful chess club type. What? You just called this boy a greaser, but now you're saying he's part of the chess club? What? Okay. Bella, I corrected. Everyone within a 3-seat radius turned to look at me, because they weren't already, as you stated.
Everybody would just turn as one to look at you while the teacher is in front of the class teaching.
The bell rung, remember?
Oh, well.
So I guess they're dismissed.
So
even though we wasn't really
sure.
So
you can actually hear her even though the bell rang and people are rushing between classes.
Yeah.
Like 300-something people in the school, and you can hear her. I could never hear shit in the 52-person school I was in that one year.
Okay, let's see. Bella, I corrected. Everyone within a 3-seat radius turned to look at me. Where's your next class? He asked. I had to check in my bag. Government with Jefferson in Building 6. There was nowhere to look without meeting curious eyes, because they're scary, I guess. I'm headed toward headed toward Building 4. I could show you the way. Definitely help. How is that being overly helpful?
Yeah, it's someone being helpful. Period.
I'm Eric, he added. I smiled tentatively. Thanks.
I think my favorite is Midsummer Night's Dream, but I feel like the Bottom's performance at the end could be way shortened. I've warmed up more to it in previous years, and I really liked that film that had Kevin Kline and who was the Callista Flockhart in it. I really liked it, and it had Michelle Pfeiffer as Titania, and I really liked her as Titania. But I also liked The Tempest, and there was a really good version by Julie Taymor, and it cast Helen Mirren as Prospera instead of Prospero, and that was actually really interesting. I actually really liked it. But Prospero's books really remains for me as the definitive version of that play. Although I will say that Derek Garman, I think that's I'm probably getting this horribly wrong, but Derek Garman did a version of Tempest, which was also really cool and very surreal and on the sort of on the edge of punk and new wave, really. I think Romeo and Juliet can be beautiful, but it is also a cautionary tale. I mean, yeah, they didn't have a lot of time to get to know each other, but a lot of that was the fault of their parents and their families engaging in this feud that really increasingly endangered. So, like, their relationship might have been healthier if the people around them had been involved in healthier relationships. They were endangering everyone in the whole place. So they had to, steal away by night and see each other and, fuck by night and bribe the nurse and all this stuff. And the people around them were well-intentioned. The thing is, everybody around them was pretty well-intentioned that was helping them, but due to some mistakes, like the monks making mistakes and the nurse fucking up, it kind of... And of course, Romeo and Juliet themselves fucked up. You know, Romeo escalated the thing and ended up killing a guy. Juliet, decided not to trust her nurse anymore, and she was one of the most trustworthy people. Thank God I did it.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I told you.
It's okay. People like it. People like it. It's fine.
I'm so sorry. I'm just like.
Apparently, the subject critic explains it.
Well, and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is based on a book.
We should watch that later when we're done streaming.
What, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern?
No. Try to find the subject critic talking about it, and
sure.
because I'm just like, I read Shakespeare. It was okay.
I should do like a Shakespeare series, like Christo geeks the fuck out over Shakespeare. You can listen to me. I've got an accent. Hello.
I sound like I know what I'm talking about.
I sound like I know what I'm talking about. I don't, of course.
Unless you come from England, then you know I'm full of shit.
Unless what?
Unless you come from England, then you know I'm full of shit.
Oh, see you later, Steve. Thanks for stopping
Bye.
by. Thanks for spending time with us, and we will get to reading your stuff. Take care. Be careful. Live long and prosper. May the force be with you.
I don't know.
I'm a free bitch, baby.
I'm a free bitch, baby.
I want your love, and I want your revenge. I want your love. I don't want to be friends.
Things we do.
Yes.
Things we do.
We got our jackets
Okay.
and headed out into the rain, which had picked up. I could have sworn several people behind us were walking close enough to eavesdrop. I hoped I wasn't getting paranoid. Just read all that shit.
Oh, okay. All right. So this is a lot different than Phoenix, huh? You never said you were from Phoenix. How do they know this? When did you say this?
That's right, it's Lady Gaga. That was not to you, obviously. That's right, Lady Gaga said, you're from Phoenix, and
You are Lady Gaga, remember?
Oh, that's right, I forgot. I forgot I was Lady Gaga. I know.
So this is a lot different than Phoenix, huh? He asked. Very. It doesn't rain much here, does it? 3 or 4 times a year. Oh, there, not here. Wow, that must that be like? He wondered. Sonny, I told him, you don't look very tan. My mother is part albino. How would you read that? That doesn't even make sense. He studied my face apprehensively, and I sighed, and then who moved it? And I sighed. It looked.
I'm being helpful, okay?
Not anymore, you're not. It looked like clouds, and a sense of humor didn't mix. What?
I think she was being facetious by saying her mother was. She was trying to make a joke, and it tanked.
Okay. Didn't seem like a joke to me. It just seemed like she's like, yeah, I'm done with you now. Go the fuck away. It's really what it seems more like.
I never thought about that, but it really does, doesn't it? If the Twilight movie had Lady Gaga in it, it would have been amazing. I mean, like, I'm not even that big of a Lady Gaga fan, but if she had been in the Twilight movie, I can definitely say it would have been amazing. But have you ever sat down and listened to the commentary of the films? Because if you get like the DVDs and you listen, Kristen Stewart and what is his name? I don't know why I forget his name. Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm like, I know it, but I can't think of it.
Robert Pattinson. I don't know why I forget it. I mean, he's a fine actor, but like Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson, no one hates Twilight more than they do. I think. If you listen to their commentaries, it is basically them completely slagging off their performances, the film, and the whole story. And it actually makes it worth watching the DVDs of the films because literally no one, I think, hates Twilight more than they do. Yes, you should rewrite Twilight with Lady Gaga.
Okay. Yes. A few months of this, and I forget how to use sarcasm. I was like, why don't you move your hands? Why are your hands in the way of the screen? How am I supposed to read? And then I realized you were pointing at that one sentence.
We walked back around to the cafeteria, to the south building by the gym. Eric walked me right to the door, even though it was clearly marked. He walked me into the girls' locker room, and then he waited, staring, breathing, watching.
Okay. I was going to make a very tasteless joke, and I'm just not.
Look, I just made a tasteless joke. Come on.
Well, I was going to reference the rape whistle.
Oh God, that advert, that Canadian buzzkill.
Yes.
Well, I mean, at least she isn't in Canada. This could be worse.
Yeah. Well, good luck, he said, as I touched the handle with your hand.
I touched the handle. I touched
with your
it.
back.
His
With
breath,
your penis that you suddenly have.
his breath caught in his throat as I touched his handle, the special handle. Eric was very helpful, over eager. Yes, I touched the handle, and Eric screamed in ecstasy.
And suddenly,
the sun came out. The rain stopped. A rainbow streaked across the sky. It was Eric's sexual awakening. Twilight, rainbow. The side story. Twilight guiding. This really escalated quickly. I'm sorry.
I don't even know what the hell we're doing.
What
the hell are we talking about?
See, this is totally worth $27. You've got to admit, this is worth $27 easily.
We do this normally, though.
We do, but it's worth $27.
Don't put it in your mouth.
Don't put it in your mouth.
Okay, we're going to stop referencing.
There needs to be a new one that's like, don't just stuff it up your ass. Don't just stuff it up your ass. Like, do you realize how much shit people put up their ass? Like, not literal shit, but sometimes. But I mean, like, people put so much stuff up their ass.
Also up their vajayjays.
Yeah.
Like people, like I watch What the Fuck Is Wrong With You? And people have put guns.
I know.
Why would you? And they don't like.
Do you know that people can shoot dots from their vaginas? They can learn
told
how.
me that.
It's amazing. They can pop balloons. Like, who does that though? Who sits around and is like, I want to learn to shoot darts from a bodily orifice that I also use for sexual intercourse and reproduction. I want to do that. This would be like me wanting a laser from my penis. You know, like, who sits around like, yeah, I really want to be able to...
Lightsaber penis from Spaceballs.
That would be kind of scary, but it also might be kind of awesome. I don't know. But since those are so powerful, though, couldn't you, like, cut something off so it would be really unpleasant? So you really...
maybe you could turn it on and off at will. Maybe like, only when you...
At will. Sorry. That was horrible.
Okay, where were we?
I do love septal power. Septal power, that's amazing. It's, damn it, you scrolled. So Lady Gaga and Lady Gaga fought over Lady Gaga, who chose Lady Gaga and had their child Lady Gaga. No, I think we are on.
Well, she was saying we glitch. And I was like, did we? There's a penis joke somewhere there, but I can't quite place it. Oh, no, there's an at. Oh, okay.
Everything okay, guys?
Yeah, it seems so. I mean, it just seems she had something weird happen with the stream, and so it's she's going to reload it.
It's a shame you missed the handle thing, but you can listen back on this later, and it's going to be glorious.
Yeah, remember, it's recording up to 8 hours, so...
Just remember to go back to where the handle was, because everything escalates very quickly from there on.
Yeah, we're about, 4 hours into this now?
Yeah.
So it's about at 4 hours.
Yeah, the 4 hour and slightly before mark, you will find that we talk about Eric, Bella, and the handle. And then we fly off the handle.
I lost my place again. Thank you. Maybe we'll have some other classes together. He sounded hopeful. Okay. I smiled at him vaguely and went inside because I really did not give a shit after I got him off.
The rest of the morning passed in about the same fashion. My trigonometry teacher, Mr. Varner, who I would have hated anyway just because of the subject he taught, was the only one who made me stand in front of the class and introduce myself. I stammered, blushed, and tripped over my own boots on the way to my...
Okay. After 2 classes, I started to recognize several of the faces in each class. There was always someone braver than the others who would introduce themselves and ask me questions about how I was liking forks. How would... Okay, clearly you just moved there But how is it any of their business, and why would they even bother to ask you?
Well,
I mean,
and
some might, but not at least one person in every class.
yeah. But I mean, it is nice that they put forth the
Well,
effort. I mean, I don't see why
yeah.
she's so resentful of them. You know, it
Well,
seems
she's
like
a dick.
yeah. I mean, it seems like she's very resentful about them being, hopeful that she likes being there, which is kind of an asshole thing, right?
Hello, Popful. I didn't notice you come in here.
Hi, Popful.
Yeah, that is Lore.
Yep, Noramir is Lord.
You can tell by the angry Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Thank you. I tried to be diplomatic, but mostly I just lied a lot. Why? At least I never needed the map.
One girl sat next to me in both Trig and Spanish, and she walked with me to the cafeteria for lunch. She was tiny, several inches shorter than my 5 feet 4 inches, but her wildly curly dark hair made up a lot of the difference between our heights. I couldn't remember her name, so I smiled and nodded as she prattled about teachers and classes. Prattle? Why would you say prattle? You are an asshole to everyone.
Well, she didn't care to remember her name or ask again. Like, sorry,
I guess so.
I'm bad with names, so could you please keep repeating it until I have it stapled to my forehead?
I didn't try to keep up.
I lost my place again because I was looking at chat. Okay. We sat at the end of a full table with several of her friends, who she introduced to me. I forgot all their names because I didn't really give a shit as soon as she spoke them. They seemed impressed by her bravery in speaking to me because I was some kind of monster or some shit. The boy from English, Eric, waved at me from across the room. It was what? I guess I'll just keep going.
Yeah, just do that one.
It was there, sitting in the lunchroom, trying to make conversation with 7 curious strangers that I first saw. Damn.
They were sitting in the corner of the cafeteria, as far away from where I sat as possible, in a long room. There were 5 of them. They weren't talking and they weren't eating, though they each had a tray of untouched food. They weren't gawking, unlike most of the others do, so it was safe to stare at them without fear of meeting an excessively interesting. Well, that's kind of a foolish assumption, but it was none of these things that caught and held my attention.
They didn't look anything alike. Of the 3 boys, one was big, muscles like a serious weightlifter, with dark curly hair. Another was taller and leaner, but still muscular and honey blonde. The last was lanky, less bulky, with untidy bronze-colored hair. Bronze. Okay. He was more boyish than the others, who looked like they could be in college, or even teachers here rather than students. I'm sorry, I was going to keep reading.
That's okay. The girls were opposites. The tall one was statuesque. She had a beautiful figure, the kind you saw on the cover of the Sports Illustrated swimsuit, the kind that made every girl around her take a hit on her self-esteem just by being in the same room. Not everybody sees the same kind of figure as her. Her hair was golden, gently waving to the middle of her back. The short girl was pixie-like, thin in the extreme, with small feet. Her hair was a deep black, cropped short and pointing in every direction. And yet, I'm doing it.
So wait, she was thin to the extreme. So you're saying she was anorexic?
Well, not
or
necessarily.
light?
Maybe she was.
Well, I know somebody who was when I was in middle school. I could fit both my hands and maybe like a finger around her waist.
Yeah.
Like she was super small.
Yeah.
In the waist. I mean, and she was healthy otherwise, but she was super tiny.
Yeah, I mean, I've known people extremely petite.
Where are we?
And yet.
Okay. And yet they were all exactly alike. Every one of them was chalky pale, the palest of all the students living in this sunless town, paler than me, the albino. Mom would sometimes say that about herself. She's like, I am so white. I'm whiter than white. I'm whiter than the white ghost white. They all had very dark eyes, despite the range in hair tones. They also had dark shadows under those eyes, purplish, bruise-like shadows.
No one's going to get that joke.
Okay.
No one's going to get that joke.
Yes, okay. As if they were all suffering from a sleepless night, or almost done recovering from a broken nose, though their noses, all of their features, were straight, perfect, angular. But all this is not why I couldn't look away.
Cut to the chase, Bella! damn. Yeah, why I couldn't look away. I'm going to tell you all about exactly how they all look, despite the fact you don't know how I look, you don't know how my father looked, you don't know how my mother looks, you don't know how anybody else looks except for the greasy chess club dude, and that's only vaguely, and the girl with the curly hair, but I've
Wait,
spent
what's going
so
on
much
here?
time. What? Oh, they're just kidding around.
Oh, okay. I was lost, and I was like, is
No,
something going on?
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry. It's
Oh,
okay.
okay.
They're just kidding around.
Okay,
At least I think they're just kidding around. It seems like they're just kidding.
Okay. Because I was about to say, I'm like, if somebody's being a bunch of assholes, I'm gonna have to like step
No,
in here.
no.
Because I'm like, we are not asshole okay.
Yeah. No.
That sounded really wrong.
We're not that kind of asshole.
Yeah.
No, they're just kidding around. So
Okay.
we are okay with kidding around.
Okay.
Just
as long as it's friendly, I don't care.
Yeah, as long as it's friendly. I've just been trying to glance over, but okay. I stared because their faces, so different, so similar, were all devastatingly, inhumanly beautiful. They were faces you never expected to see, except perhaps on the airbrushed pages of a fashion magazine, or painted by an old master as the face of an angel. It was hard to decide who was the most beautiful. Maybe the
I don't give a fucking shit.
And this, it's like, this is not why I couldn't look away, but I went on about it forever.
I suppose so.
I think her entire family actually just looks like Bella at varying ages. No, greasy chess club guy. Chess the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like exactly like her, except for a few wrinkles, maybe a different hairstyle or something.
He's just got a dick and no boobs.
Yeah. Maybe the perfect blonde girl or the bronze-haired boy.
Okay. They were all looking away from each other, away from the other students, away from anything. Shut up! I don't care! I don't give a shit! Get to something important. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were kidding, but hopefully there's nothing wrong with you. If there is something wrong with you, then
Well, I'm not really sure what's going on because
I'm not super sure what's going on, but I don't think there's anything wrong with you for liking people on the show. I don't know if I missed something, but
maybe I should go back and read through real. Of course, I don't know how well I can. I don't know. They just seem to escalate. Now people are talking about leaving, and I don't understand. I don't understand what's wrong.
I don't know what's wrong either. Well, Bella did mention that she had a shirt, and that's as far as we've got for a description of Bella so far.
Yeah, and that she has brown or dirt-colored hairs.
Yeah. So.
And it's longer than her mom's.
Well, I'm gonna assume they can do
that. Okay.
They're all looking away.
Okay, I found it. I think. No, I lost it. Oh, okay, I found it again. They were all looking away from each other, away from the other students, away from anything in particular, as far as I could tell. As I watched, the small girl rose with her tray, an open soda, unbitten apple, and walked away with a quick, graceful lope? Okay. I've never heard that word before, but okay. That belonged on a runway. I watched, amazed at her lithe dancer steps, till she dumped her tray and glided through, in a trash can, I hope, and glided through the back door faster than I would have thought possible. My eyes darted back to the others, who sat unchanging. Okay. Who are they? I asked the girl from my Spanish class, whose name I forgot. Yes, you explained that you have no fucking clue who the people, what their names are, even though you're sitting with them and they're trying to become your friends.
Yeah, you're not paying any attention to the people that are putting forth effort to, pay attention to you. That's great. Cassie's has destroyed humanity. She named one after me called Fancy Foods, and it also destroyed humanity. Yeah, it's not. My problem isn't that she isn't using enough detail, because some writers go way overboard, like Anne Rice for one, goes way overboard on detail. But it's not so much that I mind detail as it is I would like some detail about things that matter. And she seems to be going into detail only with things that don't.
I mean, I understand we're trying to explain that these people are beautiful and picturesque and But
Yeah.
my God, we had two paragraphs a paragraph describing the boys, a paragraph describing the girls.
And we still didn't really get much.
Yeah,
And
not really.
and none of it really was that relevant. So it was just kind of like, As she looked up to see who I meant, though already knowing probably from my tone, suddenly he looked at her, the thinner one, the boyish one, the youngest pair. He looked at my neighbor for just a fraction of a second, and then his dark eyes flickered to mine.
He looked away quickly, more quickly than I could, though in a flush of embarrassment I dropped my eye. You dropped your eyes at once. I didn't know you could do that with your eyes, but apparently you can. They can just come out of your sockets and be dropped.
Well, you know.
In that brief flash of a glance, his face held nothing of interest. Okay. It was as if she had called his name and he'd look up involuntarily. Oh my goodness, the words. It was as if she had called his name and he'd looked up in involuntary response, already having decided not to answer.
Don't forget fancy poods. That was to Law.
Okay.
Fancy poods.
Okay. My neighbor giggled in embarrassment, looking at the table like I did.
That's Edward and Emmett Cullen. They're a couple.
I'd
They're also brothers. Isn't it the hottest?
be okay with this.
And Rosalie and Jasper Hale.
Why are their names different? I thought they were.
Wouldn't that be kind of conspicuous? You know, like.
Yeah, I thought they were all supposed to be siblings at this school.
Yeah. The one who left was Alice Cullen. They all lived together with Dr. Cullen and his wife. She said this under her breath.
How is this some secret? You know, everybody in town knows each other and probably everybody's business. So.
Yeah. And like, I always had a problem with like, and especially like if some of them have different last names too. But like, if even Bella is like, you know, they look like college students. Why did they think it was a clever idea to hide them in a high school and constantly have to move around to different high schools? Why not put them in college if they have to put them in school at all? Yeah. Because if they look that old, they obviously don't need to be in a school.
Well, she said only like two of them looked like they were old.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
but you could still, you know, like have one in high school, one a set in college, I guess.
I mean, really though, even if you look a little bit young for college, nobody's going to say you look too young for college. You know?
I like what Spoonie said when he watched the first part of Breaking Dawn, I think it was, and of course he's just like, it's so bad he got drunk, and he's just like, yeah, they own an island, like their own island, like I think off of somewhere around Costa Rica or something like that, and he's like, why don't they just go live there? And if they want human contact, they can get in a boat and go over to the city and hang out and come back. Yeah, it's like, why don't they just live on their island?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It gets increasingly less sensible as it goes along.
Who was reading?
You.
I was. Was I starting this paragraph?
I think so.
Okay. I glanced sideways at the beautiful boy who was looking at his tray now, picking a bagel to pieces with long, pale fingers. His mouth was moving very quickly. Why? His perfect lips barely opening. The other three still looked away, and yet I felt he was speaking quietly to them.
Strange, unpopular names. Kind of named grandparent. Really?
No. I mean, Emmett's kind of weird, but that's apparently somebody's name. Jasper's also strange, but I've heard weirder names.
That's strange. Alice certainly is strange.
No.
But maybe that was in vogue here. Small town names. I finally remembered that my neighbor was called Jessica. Perfectly common name. There were two girls named Jessica in my history class back home. They are very nice looking. I struggled with the continuous understanding.
Yes, Jessica agreed with another giggle.
And yeah, you're right, Archie. Like, if anybody asks, just say you're homeschooling them. This dude's a doctor.
Yeah.
All he has to be is like, yeah, we're totally homeschooling them. You know, if it ever even becomes an issue, which is unlikely to at all.
They're all together, though. Emmett and...
Oh, my.
Yeah. This huge orgy. Emmett and Rosalie and Jasper and Alice, I mean. And they live together.
Well, of course they live together. They're adopted children. What do you think that... Where else would they live?
Her voice held all the shock and condemnation of the small town, I thought critically, but If I was being honest, I had to admit that even in Phoenix, it would cause gossip. Which ones are the Cullens? I asked. They don't look related.
Why would it cause gossip? They live together. They're adopted. They are a family. Of course, they're
I
gonna
think
live together.
what they're trying to say is that like they're dating, but they live in the same house.
But they're fucking adopted children. Damn it!
People
it
would
doesn't
still
matter.
people would still see that as incest.
That's stupid.
I know.
They're not related.
It's still seen as incest.
It's fucking ridiculous.
That's what happened in that one novel I read, it that's the thing that the people got hung up about when they were leaving reviews on Amazon, and they're like, I have lived with my family, like I couldn't, like that's my brother. Why would I have sex with them? I'm like, see, here's the thing. First of all, their families got them together when they were teenagers. If you never see somebody as your family like that, then of course you're not going to ever see them as your family like that. And plus, there's all kinds of actual, I mean, if you basically there is some scientific studies, that the people you grew up around, you in your mind,
You generally don't see them as sexual partners.
yeah. So even if you've been separated since birth, there's still the chance that maybe you might find them attractive somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff happens. Stuff
And I mean,
is
this
weird.
is fiction, obviously.
Yeah.
But like seriously, if people are, I just find it weird because if like people are adoptive siblings, it is one of those things it's one of those things that I feel like. It's like they're not related, so they can have a relationship with each other. Also, I just saw, oh, they're not. Dr. Cullen is really young, in his 20s or early 30s. They're all adopted. The Hales are brother and sisters, twins, the Blondes, and their foster children. And this is Bella. They look a little old for foster children. And now Jessica. They are now, Jasper and Rosalie are both 18, but they've been with Mrs. Cullen since they were 8. She's their aunt or something like that. That's really kind of nice for them to take care of all those kids like that when they're so young and everything. I guess so, Jessica admitted reluctantly, and I got the impression that she didn't like the doctor and his wife for some reason. With the glances she was throwing at their adopted children, I would presume the reason was jealousy. I think Mrs. Cullen can't have any kids, though, she added, as if that lessened their kindness. Throughout all this conversation, my eyes flickered again and again to the table where the strange family sat. They continued to look at the walls and not eat. Have they always lived in Forks? I asked. Surely I would have noticed them on one of my summers here. No, she said in a voice that implied it should be obvious even to a new arrival like me. They just moved down 2 years ago from somewhere in Alaska. I felt a surge of pity and relief. Pity because, as beautiful as they were outsiders, clearly not accepted. Relief that I wasn't the only newcomer here, and certainly not the most interesting by any. As I examined them, the youngest, one of the Cullens, looked up and met my gaze, this time with evident curiosity in his expression. As I looked swiftly away, it seemed to me that his glance held some kind of unmet expectation.
Okay. I start from the top?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't get closer to the table. There we go. Which one is the boy with the reddish-brown hair, I asked. I peeked at him from the corner of my eye, and he was still staring at me, but not gawking like the other students had today. He had a slightly frustrated expression. I looked down again. That's Edward. He's gorgeous, of course, but don't waste your time. You're kind of a dick. He doesn't date. Apparently none of the girls here are good-looking enough for him. Because... Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, because that matters, or maybe he likes dick, who cares? She sniffed, a clear case of sour grapes. I wondered when he turned her down. I bit my lip to hide my smile. Then I glanced at him again. His face was turned away, but I thought his cheek appeared lifted, as if he was smiling too. Oh, we're smiling. After a few more minutes, the 4 of them left the table together. They all were noticeably graceful, not grateful. Even the big brawny one. It was unsettling to watch. The one named Edward didn't look at me again. I sat at the table with Jessica and her friends longer than I would have if I had been sitting alone. I was anxious not to be late for class on my first day. One of my new acquaintances, who considerately reminded me that her name was Angela, had biology too with me the next hour. We walked to class together in silence. She was shy too, even though she keeps openly reminding you what her name is because you're too stupid to bother to remember
It's
it.
like Daisy. Hi, Angela! Hi, Angela! Hi, Angela! Oh, okay. When we entered the classroom, Angela went to sit at a black-top table exactly like the ones I was using. She already had a neighbor. In fact, all the tables were filled but one. Next to the center aisle, I recognized Edward Cullen by his unusual hair, his Morrissey quiff apparently, sitting next to that single open seat.
As I walked down the aisle to introduce myself to the teacher and get my slip signed, I was watching him super.
Surreptitiously.
Thank you. Just as I passed, he suddenly went rigid in his seat. He stared at
Oh
me.
my.
He had the biggest boner I've ever seen. He stared at me again, meeting my eyes with the strangest expression on his face. Well, yeah, he suddenly got hard in his pants. I would imagine that'd be very
The
uncomfortable.
strangest expression on his face as he jizzed in his pants.
It was hostile, furious.
Yeah, well, that's one way you could put it, but
Uh-huh. I looked away quickly, shocked, going red again. I stumbled over a book in the walkway and had to catch myself on the edge of the table.
because people leave books in the middle of the floor.
Yeah. The girl sitting there giggled. I'd noticed that his eyes were black, coal black.
Mr. Banner signed my slip and handed me a book with no nonsense about introductions. If this is the first day of school, is this the first day of school or is this just her first day
It's
of
her
school?
first day of school.
Because, like, really, this is ridiculous, though. Because, like, if this is just her first day at school, he should have given her an extra day to recover and get to know the town and do something, you know? It just seems stupid.
I don't know where we are.
Oh, yeah, it's me. I could tell we were going to get along. Of course, he had no choice but to send me to the one open seat in the middle of the room. I kept my eyes down as I went to sit by him, bewildered by the antagonistic stare he'd given me.
Okay. I didn't look up as I set my book on the table and took my seat, but I saw his posture change from the corner of my eye. You keep looking at the corner of your eye a lot. How well
There's
do
a lot
you
of
see
side
it?
eye going on
Yeah,
here
I
on
know.
Swan.
He was leaning away from me, sitting on the extreme edge of his chair and averting his face like he smelled something bad. Inconspicuously, I sniffed my hair. It smelled like strawberries, the scent of my favorite shampoo. It seemed an innocent enough odor. I let my hair fall over my right shoulder, making a dark curtain between us, and tried to pay attention to the teacher. Unfortunately, the lecture was on cellular anatomy, something I'd already studied. How can you already study all this shit?
To be fair, I don't think I've ever heard of any course senior year that would focus on cellular anatomy entirely. That is such a basic concept that would be in a much earlier year. Why would they ever, like, even in a pissant town where everything's kind of delayed, I just.
Let's see. I took notes carefully anyway, always looking down.
I couldn't stop myself from peeking occasionally through the screen of my hair at the strange boy next to me. During the whole class, he never relaxed his stiff position on the edge of his chair, sitting as far from me as possible. I could see his hand on his left leg was clenched into a fist, tendons standing out under his pale skin. This, too, he never relaxed. He had the long sleeves of his white hair pushed up to his elbows, and his forearm was surprisingly hard and muscular beneath skin. He wasn't nearly as slight as he looked next to his burly brother. The class seemed to drag on longer than the others.
I think one of us should start paying the chat because I'm getting so lost.
Well, I do try to.
Yeah.
Was it because the day was finally coming to a close, or was it because I was waiting for his tight fist to loosen? Oh my! It never did. He continued to sit so still it looked like he wasn't breathing. What was wrong with him? Was this his normal behavior? I questioned my judgment on Jessica's bitterness at lunch today.
Once we find out more about vampires later, or at least what I know about minor vampires now, couldn't he technically not breathe and be fine?
Yeah, I think he should. Maya Pyres. I questioned my judgment on Jessica's bitterness at lunch. Maybe she was not as resentful as I thought. It couldn't have anything to do with me. You didn't know me from Eve. Yeah, another. Anyway,
Okay. I peeked up at him one more time and regretted it. He was glaring down at me again, his black eyes full of revulsion. Are you sure about that? As I flinched away from him, shrinking against my chair, the phrase, if looks could kill, suddenly ran through my mind.
at that moment the bell rang loudly, making me jump and fart. And Edward Cullen was out of his seat. Fluidly he rose.
That was a very short class.
That was a very short. She just sat down. He was much taller than I had thought. His back to me, and he was out the door before anyone else was out of it.
I sat frozen in my seat, staring blankly after him. He was so mean. How? How? It wasn't
Because he didn't adore the great Bella Swan.
I guess. It wasn't fair. I began gathering up my things slowly, trying to block the anger that filled me. Okay. For fear my eyes would tear up. What?
So basically she wants everybody to fawn over her so that
But
she
she
can,
doesn't
so
like
that she can
them.
resent them for
Yeah.
fawning over her, yeah.
I don't understand.
Well, she's like every other character we've read in these fanfics. You know,
Yeah.
like she's the kind of
Yeah.
character who wants everybody
Yeah.
to notice her, but tells them to fuck off preps when
Yeah.
they do.
For some reason, my temper was hardwired to my tear ducts. I usually cried when I was angry, a humiliating tendency. You know, that is entirely possible because I know somebody who, when they're in incredible pain, they just start laughing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, crying when you're angry is not an uncommon thing. It's very common because you can be so angry you cry, and you can laugh so hard you
Yeah.
cry. Crying is one of those fundamental expressions. Should I just read this dialogue until we get to We Walk to Class?
If you want to.
Aren't you Isabella Swan? A male voice asked. I looked up to see a cute baby-faced boy, his pale blonde hair carefully gelled into orderly spikes, smiling at me in a friendly way. He obviously didn't smell bad.
Are you close enough for him to smell you yet?
Bella, I corrected him with a smile. I'm Mike. Hi, Mike. Do you need help finding your next class? I'm headed to the gym, actually. I think I can find it. That's my next class, too, and every other one as well. He seemed thrilled, though it wasn't that big of a coincidence in a school this small.
We walked to class together. He was a chatter. He supplied most of the conversation, which made it easy for me. He'd lived in California till he was 10, so he knew how I felt about the sun. I don't really remember much about anything when I was 10, except that I got one of those ferrets with a spring in it, like toy ferrets with a spring. They're called Rascal, and you can move it around and make it do stuff. It turned out he was in my English class also. He was the nicest person I'd met today. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Maybe he was the guy you want to bone, but he's not the nicest person you've met today.
But as we were entering the gym, he asked, "So, did you stab Edward Cullen with a pencil or what? I've never seen him act like that."
Of course I didn't stab him with a pencil. If I wanted to stab him, I wouldn't use a pencil.
I cringed. No, I'd use a stake right through his heart, which I don't think actually works on minor vampires. So I cringed. So I wasn't the only one who had noticed, and apparently that wasn't Edward Cullen's usual behavior. I decided to play dumb. "Was that the boy I sat next to in biology?" I asked artlessly. "Yes," he said. "He looked like he was in pain or something." "I don't know," I responded. I never spoke to him. "He's a weird guy." Mike lingered by me instead of heading to the dressing room. "If I were lucky enough to sit by you, I would have talked to you." Hitting on her. Good job. I smiled at him before walking through the girls' locker room door. He was friendly and clearly admiring, but it wasn't enough to ease my irritation. Over Edward, I guess? Mr. Fishy summoned it. What?
It's a misheader.
Okay.
The gym teacher, the comically named Coach Clapp.
Oh, God.
I've never heard of anyone with the surname Clapp, but if anybody in the school is going to be named Clapp, it's the gym teacher, Coach Clapp. Found me a uniform.
Better than Mr. Butts.
What?
What?
That's bullshit.
Found me a uniform, but
Didn't make me dress down for today's class. Look, you don't just have uniforms on hand and make people dress down for a class anyway. And why
See, when I
If he
was
finds you a uniform, why would he even? That's ridiculous. Why would he?
the only
Why
reason
would he do one if he wasn't going to make you do the other in the first place? Why would he even find you one? Why would you have one around?
when I was in high school, we only had to take gym for 1 year, one semester, and I did that in my freshman. We would alternate between days we'd spend in the classroom and days we spend in the
Yeah.
gym. And I would say if it's worked something similar like that here with Bella, it would probably be a classroom day, but he went ahead and gave her something to change into later when they did have gym, like the next day or something.
Yeah, but why
I
would
mean,
he,
I don't know why they had to have a uniform. We just had to have a
why
change
would
of
they?
clothes.
I have never ever found a school in the United States that had a gym uniform. You would dress in a certain, like you'd bring a t-shirt
Yeah.
and shorts or something,
Yeah.
and you dress down to it. But if he was going to find her a uniform to wear, presumably that would be for her to participate.
Yeah.
And if he wasn't going to make her dress down anyway, why find her the uniform? That took up valuable time of the class.
Yeah.
And also, he knew she was coming, so why didn't we have one for her or tell her to bring clothes or buy clothes? Also, there is nowhere in this fucking country that I know of where PE is mandatory for 4 years at all.
Not that I know of.
I knew most of the places I went, it was 1 year in high school. I ended up in Texas at one later point, and they were like, well, no, you have to have I think 1.5 years or something like that.
How do you have a half a year?
Basically,
I had to have it for a semester, and once I did that, I was done with it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I had to take a half a semester or something PE.
I mean,
one
now
of my
we
ladies,
had
which was stupid, but most of the time it was in class.
now we had an elective that was also like a gym class.
Yeah.
But that was about it. That was all there was. Oh well. Okay.
Well, you go to an odd school, my friend, because I have never.
I mean, I've never
encountered
been anywhere other than the high school I went to. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, until I found that one school
Yeah.
in bumfuck nowhere,
Yeah.
Texas, it was 1 year. That's it.
Yeah.
That I have never ever seen 4 years compulsory, and gym uniforms never, unless
Yeah.
you're an actually, like Jessica says,
Yeah.
only if you're an athlete and you're actually participating in school sports.
Yeah.
They can't afford that.
Yeah.
Because, especially if it's a public school, which this
Yeah.
is obviously a public school, they cannot afford uniforms for everyone for gym. It's just not a priority.
Semester, a year.
But anyway, the comically named Coach Clapp, Forks was literally my personal hell on earth.
Because gym was so bad. I don't know. I didn't care. I mean, I didn't really want to be there, but whatever. I had to do it, and I'd be over with it later. So, I watched 4 volleyball games running simultaneously. How many people are in the gym class?
Yeah, really. If you're talking about this school being so micro small.
Okay, I watched 4 volleyball games running simultaneously, remembering how many injuries I had sustained and inflicted playing volleyball. I felt faintly nauseated.
Just go ahead until.
Okay. The final bell rang at last. I walked slowly to the office to return my paperwork. The train.
The train had left, but.
Drops of Jupiter, I guess. The rain had drifted away, but the wind was strong and colder. I wrapped my arms around myself. When I walked into the warm office, I almost turned around and walked back out.
Edward Cullen stood at the desk in front of me. I recognized again that tousled bronze hair. Blonde hair. I'm doing it again. He didn't appear to notice the sound of my interest. Oh my. This is so naughty.
He's been over the desk with his ass prepared and ready to go.
Well, what I mean, Benair, is that they didn't generally give you a gym uniform. Usually they're like, bring a t-shirt and shorts, and sometimes they tell you to do a color, but, usually you have to do your best. Like in a public school, they can't really say, oh, you have to do this.
Yeah.
You have to do this, because
people
can't afford it.
I mean, depending on where you are, some public schools in some of the bigger cities
Yeah.
will have, like, uniforms and stuff. But But and then of course the county, they've gone as far as to actually dictate like what color folders you can have for what class.
That's ridiculous. That's stupid.
Well, I don't
I
know
would
if-
just be like,
yeah.
fuck that, no. I'd like to see you enforce it.
Well, they anyway.
And because you know that
Yeah.
really helps. These are the
Yeah.
things we need to concentrate on
But of
in
course,
our
I
education.
went to the preppy school, and even there, they're just like, as long as it's appropriate for gym,
Yeah.
we don't care. You know, shorts and a shirt,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna go about your business.
Yeah.
And then of course, like tennis shoes, because I don't think they allow
Yeah.
flip flops.
Because it is so stupid. It's like, yeah, these are real problems with the school. What color folder you take to what class? Bullshit. Focus on something that fucking matters. This is why our school system is a piece of shit. This is why it's a huge disaster, because they're pissing around on shit that don't matter.
And you get to carry around all those heavy ass books
Yeah.
that you don't actually read.
Because they don't want you to go to your locker at any
I
time.
get- Well, you can't anyway. You only got 5 minutes to
Yeah.
go from like the basement to the top of the school, and like that's how
Yeah.
it was for math for me. Like you're not allowed to go outside, but that was the only way I could get to math on time.
Yeah.
I'm like, and we even had break, and if I wanted to eat breakfast, I had to go outside to get to math.
Yeah.
How do I equal ebony?
You went to the prep school.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I did. I mean, that's where all the doctors and lawyers kids go.
I stood pressed against the back wall, waiting for the reception.
I'm pretty sure I'm not, but I could be because I went there.
Waiting for the reception to be free.
To be free. He was arguing with her in a low, attractive voice. I quickly picked up the gist of the argument. He was trying to trade from 6-hour biology to another time, any other time. I just couldn't believe that this was about me.
Well, you don't know it's about you, actually.
I mean, that would be a theory, but I'd be like, well, no, I just got here,
Yeah,
so
that's
might be
silly.
something he's trying to do for a while now. It had to be something else, something that happened before I entered the biology room. The look on his face must have been about another aggravation entirely. It was impossible that the stranger could take such a sudden, intense dislike to me. I don't know.
Not necessarily. We kind of have too.
Yeah.
The door opened again, and the cold wind suddenly gusted through the room, rustling the papers on the desk, swirling my hair around my face. The girl who came in merely stepped to the desk, placed a note in the wire basket, and walked out again. But Edward Cullen's back stiffened, and he turned slowly to glare at me. His face was absurdly handsome, with piercing, hate-filled eyes. For an instant, I felt a thrill of genuine fear, raising the hair on my arms. The look only lasted a second, but it chilled me more than the freezing wind. I turned back to the room.
Never mind then, he said hastily in a voice like velvet. I can see that it's impossible. Thank you so much for your help. And he turned on his heel without another look at me and disappeared out the door. I went meekly to the desk, my face white for once instead of red, and handed her the signed slip. How did your first day go, dear? The receptionist asked maternally. Okay. Fine, I lied, my voice weak. She didn't look convinced.
When I got to the truck,
Go ahead.
okay. When I got to the truck, it was almost the last car in the lot. It seemed like a haven, already the closest thing to home I had in this damp green hole. I sat inside for a while, just staring out the windshield blankly. But soon I was cold enough, so I turned the key and the engine roared to life. I headed back to Charlie's house, fighting tears the whole way there.
Oh no, somebody doesn't like me. Not like I haven't been a dick the entire day.
I know, she's been bitching about how everybody bothers her and conspicuously over nice.
Yeah,
And then she gets offended because someone doesn't do that.
I'm gonna get caffeinated.
Okay, that's fine.